It is rightly said that we don't read and write poetry because it's intriguing or in trend. We read and write poetry because we are the members of the human race filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are just noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, and literature, these are what we stay alive for. And today, we have one such author with us who, with her book, gave us an epitome example of a thrilling story, enchanted with her magical storytelling skills. Greetings of the day, everyone. I am privileged to welcome you all in the third edition of Orange City Literature Fest, organized by SGR Knowledge Foundation in association with GH Raisoni University, powered by Raisoni Group of Institutions. I am Saurabh Jarial, delighted to be your anchor for today's session. Raptor Rising by Mrs. Anjali Joshi in conversation with Ms. Lipsa Panda, an author who is known for her extraordinary usage of storyline that not only attracts its reader, but at the same time gives their mind a roller coaster ride, where we not just only read them, but actually starts living the character. A very exuberant personality with tremendous achievement and experience in various fields. Ms. Anjali Joshi, ma'am. The author, Ms. Anjali Joshi, grew up in Bombay. A penchant for unexpected twists in her tales can be squarely blamed on the childhood summer spent in the ancestral home, a place full of secret corridors, cupboards, and books. A 5 year stint as an air hostess spent mostly staring down at the passing continents and oceans from 30,000 feet taught her that Earth has no borders, and so the mind humbly opened to accept all that either closed to download into it. There is a rightful place for both the profound and the profane. Over 2 decades in filmmaking as a designer, visualizer, editor, writer, producer, and director. She is an international expert in 3D holography, clocking over 4,000 shows. Ma'am, that is a huge number, I must say. It's an honor to have you with us, Miss Anjali Joshi, ma'am. And this gets even more delightful as we have another dynamic lady, someone who has a deep rooted relation with art and literature, Miss Lipsa Panda, ma'am, who will be in conversation with her as the moderator. A well known personality who is not bounded by any single language, but at the same time is also an ardent seeker in the field of art, literature, and many more. The very gracious moderator for today's session, Miss Lipsa Panda, ma'am. Ma'am is a multilingual conversationalist with an interest in contemporary literature, art, and fashion. She owns a production house and hosts a celebrity talk show named Ouch Couch with Lipsa, a series of its own kind. She has almost 800 shows online and offline of different kinds to her credit. For many of these, she travels across India. He is empaneled with the Income Tax Department and Department for Sports as an MC. I once again welcome both of you. Also, before moving ahead, I would like to take a moment and acknowledge the support of Rupa Publication as the association is valuable to Orange City Literature Fest. Now, my dear audience, you are about to experience a conversation between two dynamic individuals. And if you are a literature fan like me, then let me tell you, we'll be having one of the best conversations. So, without skipping a moment, I humbly invite Lipsa ma'am to lead us ahead. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Saurav. It was delightful listening to you. Thank you for such a brilliant introduction for Anjali ma'am. I have always been a fan of hers and her achievements, and it was all more fun to see her right in front of me and hearing about her. And thank you for this beautiful introduction of mine as well. And yes, and thank you for once again welcoming us to the Orange City Literature Festival, the third edition. It is indeed an honor being here and being in a conversation with Ms. Anjali Joshi. Once again, I take this moment to welcome Ms Anjali Joshi here with us today.
Hi guys, it's good to be here, and I'm really happy to be associated with the Orange City Literature Festival. So you guys have been really kind. I must say that. Thank you so much, Saurabh, and thank you, Lipsa. So shoot, let's start.
Yes, let's skip to the chase already. So, of course, you are the author. This book has so many twists and tales that we are going to talk about. But what was the idea that you wanted to convey to a reader by the name Raptor Rising? If you know, like somebody just comes across just the name, what did you want to insinuate in their minds just with the name Raptor Rising?
Okay, a raptor is a predator, and the characters in the book are very predatory in nature. So, in fact, there's a raptor in each one of us. It's just that we conceal them very well. So, this is a celebration of that raptor, that predator within each of us. So, and I thought Raptor Rising, kind of sounded nice also. So I just went with it. But it does. It actually personifies the spirit of the book and the characters in the book.
Very much, yes. But there's this pattern that we see that all the female characters in the book are really really strong. So now, having said that, there's a predator in all of us, and especially the female characters being very strong. I would like you to connect the dots for us.
Right. Uh, See, actually speaking, all the characters in the story are rather strong. They are very unapologetic. Normally, when you have a story, and primary characters are always people who have a streak of the underdog in them, because that's the easiest way to get the readers or the audience in terms of films to like or feel sorry. So you feel sorry, arey bechara, this happened, that's why this the character made the choices that they did. My primary character was a lady who's an unapologetic killer. She's a cross between an assassin, a psychopath, and a soldier, if I can use the word. So, what I did was, when creating the characters, I just kept in mind that my character doesn't really have a gender. These are characters beyond gender because they are not governed by their gender, but they use their gender. The primary character shamelessly uses her sexuality, but is not limited by it. She turns it into a weapon, in fact. So that's how she kills. Her technique of killing is snuff killing. So she turns it into a weapon, which eventually has to be dissected for what it is, for them to understand who she is and how to go about getting her. And that's so with the rest of the female characters and the male characters also. They're all unapologetic. They follow their own hearts and their minds, and they make choices that surprise you all the time, but in a very convincing manner.
Rightly said. All the characters are bold and unique in their own possible ways, and that is something I absolutely loved about the book. So I would really want to put this question here: which character caught your fancy the most? I mean, or is there any character that you personally relate to the most?
I think I relate to all of them in some way, because when you write, a part of you gets infused into every character that you create, because always a part of reality gets infused into the fiction. By
Right.
reality, I by no ways mean that the story is real. The story is pure fiction. Uh, to the best of my knowledge and all the research that I did, the kind of killing that is described in the book and the kind of characters that are described there do not resemble anything. Having said that, I do believe that some of us, some part of the writer does percolate into the creation, and a book is a creation, that your own thoughts, your own value systems, your own way of connecting with people around you. Somewhere a seed of that does percolate into the characters that you create and the stories that you create.
Very, very rightly said. And now that we have spoken about characters and how you see, like a part of you in each one of them, I would really, really would like to know, and of course, our audience would also like to know if there's any part of the story which is like, your favorite that you have always loved a little more than the rest of them.
When I am not a trained writer, so when I was writing, I did not follow a traditional structure of writing. As a result of which, you have a murder mystery, which is basically solved halfway through the book, but the book
Mhm.
still goes on. Now, doing that was a conscious decision, and it was also a challenge because once you know who the murderer is, isn't that supposed to be the end of the story? I use it as a takeoff point, and I created a double climax, if I may call it so, in film parlance. So that being able to pull that off convincingly, it's a very complex story, but it is just 215 pages. Um, and now to be able to bring the reader up to a point of climax and then use that, hold attention, and still ride on it was pretty challenging, and touch wood, it seems to have worked.
It totally does. It totally does. While I was reading the book, it kept me on my toes. Like I was like always on the edge of my chair, and it kept me very, very gripped. So when Saurav started with the session, he mentioned poetry, and I really wanted to like shoot this question at you. Like, how do you explain the poetry in Killing? Of course, it was done in a very different manner and style and how, but how would you explain that here?
Poetry is not just words. Poetry is also concept. Poetry is also how you visualize something, or how you make a reader visualize something. I come from a filmmaking background, and
Right.
I started writing with screenplays and scripts. As a result of which, I write in a very visual manner. So each time there was a kill, and like I said, it's a sex kill. So that does take you to the border where you are treading a very fine line between what is literature and what is not, which can be badly interpreted as something else. So I needed to do that in a manner where uh, the macabre and beauty remained intact.
Right.
So, and each time I gave myself just a para to basically do that. So, even though it's a kill, and even though it's a brutal kill, there is a beauty in which state of mind of the people who are involved in it at that point of time, the killer and the person she's killing. The beauty is the poetry is in the thought processes which go through them, more in terms of the victim as death happens. So that's where I mean, I got a lot of feedback saying that the deaths were very poetic, and I said, oh God, that's a murder. Murders are not supposed to be poetic, but yeah, it was an intentional thing on my part to try and get that magic in the moment of death, because every victim who dies dies a very brutal death and sees the death happening as it comes. And at that point of time, that last moment, where does your mind take you, and what is it that rules your heart and mind at that last fraction? That is pretty fascinating, actually.
Indeed, this book touches various like aspects of emotion and was very gripping at the same time. But what kept I think well, I have read a lot of reviews online. Millennials seem to have liked this book a lot because of the attitude, the millennial attitude, and the language, which is very much like followed. It is not just another conventional way of storytelling here. So how do you like to like help us with the idea of the millennial attitude and the language that is beautifully infused in the entire book here?
I think one thing is the attitude in the book, the attitude of um, it's a very bold attitude which is there, which you see in the characters of somebody who's ready to take on the world anytime, anywhere, any place, kind of a thing, which is a
Right.
very millennial attitude in that sense. It's a very dynamic kind of an attitude. Now, when a part of it, the kill happens on the dark web. So there is, in that sense, technology and the new world which steps in. And though I use technology and I use the dark web and stuff like that, I make it very simple so that anybody from the age of 18 to 80 can read it and understand it totally. So the as far as the millennial, yes, I did I did get that feedback that it is there's a lot of young people reading it. Now what happens is that there is so much out there in terms of content, not just words, not just books, but in terms of visual content and videos and everything. Now, the millennial readership is a very seriously dangerous readership because their span of attention is really superbly low, and they are not going to wait a minute before they trash you. They're very judgmental and they're very quick in figuring out whether they like something or they don't like something. It's very difficult to, I have two daughters and I know how difficult it is for them to, hold on to one thing. So it was a conscious decision. It's in the nature or it's in the design, the way I design the chapters, that once you pick the book, you are going to binge read it. It's not the kind of a book where yeah, we can padha and next week can padha. No, if you pick it up, you are going to read it from the first page to last page, and there is a lot happening in it. Again, that's a very millennial thing. Earlier you saw books which ran into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. Complex stories were very long books, but this is not. It comes from my habit of writing scripts. When you write a screenplay, it's never more than 100 and 125 pages. So and even complex, the most complex screenplays. Now I adapted that to tell a story to a very young millennial, uh, uh, fickle-minded kind of audience, the readership, that the chapters are small, and every time the chapter ends, it leaves you at the edge so that you will flip the page and go to the next chapter. I think that was that design and the language that I used was designed to do that. I think that worked, which is why the whole, the feedback that I was getting about millennials being able to liking it and wanting to read it and being able to do that binge read, which I was hoping would work out.
It certainly did. It really worked in a great way, in fact. And that was also one of the reasons that, like you said, if you pick the book, you probably end it. That's what worked for me as well. So that is why I really had to ask that question here. So now that you have spoken about chapters, the book starts, and the first chapter in itself has so much detailing in it. So that is definitely an insider's perspective, especially you having a background of filmmaking for so long. And honestly, for a layman who doesn't understand filmmaking or how it is shot or how the sets are, how the actors behave, the first chapter contains a lot of details out there, which is very, very fascinating. So how much do you think your previous job roles or your previous professions have helped you, fill Raptor Rising with all the details and fascinations that it has?
See, that's what I said, that what you are, who you are, and how you are eventually percolates down into what you write. And yeah, Raptor Rising starts with what in film parlance would be called an action scene. It's a chase, and a lot of genuine technical detail filters into it. How
Exactly.
And I enjoy writing action scenes. I enjoy the action part of it. I totally loved writing the parts in the book which were action related. I love going into the details. I love going into the nuances in terms of the physical action that is required to execute a certain thing, and in terms of the emotional and the subtext that one uses during action. So
Right.
the opening, like we said, is an action scene which is very much in detail. And yes, my profession as a filmmaker has had an impact on how I've written that.
Of course, and it is very much visible, and it adds to all the details and the beauty of the book altogether. So, this might come as a question from many, but having read a book as thrilling as that of Raptor Rising, I would really want to put this question here. How much of the writer do you think seeps into the characters, especially like that of the
Okay,
Raptorizing?
how much of the writer do you think seeps into the book? You read a lot of books. What do you feel about that?
I, I have phases right after I finish a book. I probably live in that character for at least 2, 3 days, and then I genuinely have to shrug myself out of it. No, 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 it's done. Get out.
Yeah, that is something that even I experience as a reader. And as a writer, you stay with the character for a very long time. So
Yeah.
it's like this particular story started nearly 10 years ago, and it stayed mostly in the mind. And then after a point of time, I started writing it, and then it became a novel. So I lived with it for a very long time, as happens. I mean, while I was working on this, I was also working on several different stories. So it's you jump between stories and concepts. So at any point of time, there'll be 2 3 stories between which you're jumping, and sometimes the characters are feeding off each other from different stories. The research that you
Right.
do for different books is eating into each other. So that does happen, and it's a very interesting it's a very interesting process. Uh, Having said that, I would also like to say that uh, there are a lot of qualities that you just conjure up, because that's the fun part of writing fiction, conjuring up stuff which doesn't exist. So you're just letting your mind have a blast, basically. And for every story that is written, eventually, if this much is written, this much has formed, and this much went in and out of the mind. So it's a beautiful process, and I totally enjoy it.
That was my next question exactly. I really wanted to know what is your favorite part of the writing, because this process is really really long. But now that you said, the conjuring of the whole process, and that is your favorite part of the writing, I think I got the answer to my question. But there is this one question which has been popping in my head. I'm not even sure if I should be asking that. But how much do you think you're capable of a cold-blooded murder?
How much am I capable of it? As much as the next person, as much as you and Saurabh.
But this
Yes.
book definitely has played with imaginations of many.
See, what happens is, at different points of time in human history, uh, killing has had different interpretation. Who kills whom, when, under what circumstances, for what reasons, is what decides on the morality behind the kill. Is what is it how it goes. Now we hopefully civilization will come to a point where we will not have to train people to kill, like every single army in the armed forces in the world is still forced to do. So when you shoot, I have worked on films earlier with armed forces, and when you're trained to kill, and when you do kill, what is the impact that it has on you? I don't know. I've never done it, so I don't know. But it's something that is, I think it's a capability that all of us possess. Some are triggered, some are not. But I think at a very instinctive, elementary level, we are capable of it, because there is that predator. Like I said, we are each one of us, whether we like it or not, we are predators, whether in our emotional life, our social life, our professions. uh, that is something that we all do. uh, we are always feeding off the energy, or we are feeding off the environment in some way or the other, to grow, to enhance our own beings. So, yes, I think the killer instinct is morphs Uh, Thousands of years ago, it meant you took a spear, you went out and killed. But now the killer instinct is something else. It has morphed into ways which are equally deadly. You see it in the world of business, you see it in the environment everywhere around you. But it has just morphed into something else.
Oh, truth be told, you like that's the thought that I was going by as I completed the book. And to be honest, on a daily basis, we actually go through so much. We live by so much, and like we keep mum about things that trouble us and things like that. So this book was sort of therapy. We kill several people every day in our head, if not literally. And if it is cold blooded, nothing like it.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving forward, I would really like to know, and I'm sure our viewers would also like to know, what is it that we should expect coming next from you? Is it going to be a thriller as like gripping as this, or is it some different genre that we should be expecting from you?
I have a sequel of this which I'm working on. I
Oh,
wrote one
nice.
and then I thrashed it because I didn't like it, so I restarted. And I have another book of short stories which I am happy with. Yeah, my as far as books go, um, I think most of my stories have that raw energy in it. It has an unpredictableness. It has characters who are basically unstoppable and refuse to give excuses for anything. I did not want to make excuses of for anybody in the any character in the book. Yeah, they she killed because she killed because she could kill you. She was good enough to do it, and there was something that you wanted which she wanted. So it was that's how it is. And most of the characters I tend to create are very unapologetic. I don't know. I mean, that's how it comes. It's not. I mean, it's not intentional. So I have that which I'm working on, which hopefully I will be able to bring out in the next year. And as far as writing goes, I just finished the production of a feature film in Hindi, which is
Oh, wow.
not at all like this, which is a completely different genre. So I don't know. In the future, I may decide to write something which is non-thriller, non-action.
Can't wait to read like more of your work. How about we end this session with a quick rapid fire session, if you're okay with it?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, let's do this. This has always been my favorite part. All right, you just have to quickly answer without giving it a second thought. The first thing that comes to your head. No filter. All right, let's start. Your favorite genre.
My favorite
Your
genre.
favorite genre of right.
My favorite genre. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, action.
Action, right. Who's your favorite author?
My favorite author, Pearl Buck.
All right. So, what is the first book that you ever read? The first one ever.
Ah, that's lovely. The first book that I really, okay, not long answer, short answers. So that is The Black Beauty.
All right. And the last one that you completed.
I haven't really read a book for 3 years because when I'm writing, I don't read.
Making sure the ideas in your head,
Yeah,
like stays
yeah.
intact
I
completely.
believe in the purity of thought, and I don't read when I'm writing. So sorry.
Agreed. No, don't be sorry, please. So, what is your idea when it comes to the process of writing? Is it agony or ecstasy?
Is that part of the rapid fire, or are we done with it?
No, it's a part of it. We have a few more questions.
It is. It is a bit of both. It's like yeah, it is a bit of both.
All right. Okay then. I'll take that for an answer. Your favorite character from Raptor Rising?
My favorite character is Vikram, who is a person of extremely fluid morality. I had great
All
fun
right.
writing about him.
It's very difficult to ask a mother choose between one of her children, isn't it? But I'm glad you didn't take a second before answering that. Absolutely loved it. You're so you've worked in different sectors and different like professions, but which one did you enjoy the most?
What
Or
do I like?
are you
Okay.
which one are you enjoying the most? Sorry.
I uh, I love the whole process of making a film, and writing is a big part of it. So I enjoy writing. I do things that I truly enjoy doing. So right now I'm enjoying writing, so I'm writing.
Ah, nice. That's beautiful. All right, last two questions. Your guilty pleasure.
Ah, Nutella.
Right. You know what? My last question for you was what helps you out of your actor's block? Sorry, writer's block. I am sorry. We talk about movies and I keep shifting. What is a way out of your writer's block? Is that Nutella? Am I getting the same answer?
I think Nutella has a lot going for it. Touch wood, I haven't faced a writer's block as yet, because if I get into a block about something, I simply move into another story. That's it.
That's great. And touch it to that, we wouldn't want you to get blocked anywhere, because we can't wait to read an amazing series of books coming from you, because you don't get blocked, we don't get blocked, neither does the thrill. So let's keep that going. So it was really fun talking to you about Raptorizing and otherwise, and it was fun knowing you a little more as well. Thank you so much, Ms Anjali Joshi, for indulging in such a happening and a beautiful conversation with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lipsa. Thank you, Saurabh. And thank you, Orange City Literature Festival.
Having thanked Orange City Literature Fest once again for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this, Saurav, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Lipsa ma'am and Anjali ma'am. I must say, with all those laughs and a glance, each time you were talking about your storyline, I was getting more and more interested. And I must say, Anjali ma'am, one book is coming into my bookshelf, that is the Raptor Rising. At the outset, I would like to thank Anjali ma'am and Lipsa ma'am for joining us today. We wish we get to hear you both again and be equally enlightened as we all are today. And for my dear massive audience, as I promised, this was a much delighted conversation we all needed. Laughter, glances, and some quick tips by Anjali ma'am. How to build a storyline with the protagonist. As my Anjali ma'am said, Vikram is her favorite protagonist. I am curious to know about what Vikram was doing in that book. And my dear audience, I believe that you also are going to buy that book today only. I'm sure that after witnessing this conversation, you all are taking home an enriched version of yourself, just as I will. As it is rightly said, that goodbyes are not forever, nor they are the end. This simply means that we'll meet again. Thank you for joining us today. Until I see you again, this is Saurabh Jaryal signing off. Keep watching Orange City Literature Fest. Let's celebrate our love for literature with this amazing fest. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anjali ma'am. Thank you so much, Lipsa ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
So we are done. We
Raisoni Group, a vision beyond.